Hello, everyone. If you're interested in podcasting or, thinking about starting your own podcast or just interested in finding out more information about it, I would recommend checking out Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. And when hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So for the brand new podcaster, that is just an absolute plus. So check it out. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm, that's F as in Frank, M as in Mary, to get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to In the Dark. It's good to be back. Glad I'm able to get this a little bit more consistent now that my season is over for my business. With me today, I have a filmmaker named Patrick Cutler, who is doing a film called Redgate. And he contacted me about this last week, and he said it was in regards to a series of mysterious events that have occurred in and around a small town in western Montana. A picture has been circulating online this past summer of what appears to be an alien being caught on a hunting trail cam. This has been covered by the History Channel, local news stations, and several other outlets. However, there is much more to the story than people realize, as Patrick had uncovered real UFO footage in the same area as this alien that was shot on the old cell phone. The footage has never been released to the public. It also coincides with a series of strange, grotesque, inexplicable murders in the area that have appeared to happen out of nowhere. So this sounds pretty fascinating to me. I had Patrick contacted me and I asked him to be on the show, and also would like to reiterate that he's making a movie called Redgate. It's not out yet, but he's working on it. And when it comes out, just look for it. It's the movie that's based on all this stuff that's going on that is, based on true stories. So, on with the show. Hello?
Oh, hello.
Patrick.
Yes, how's it going?
It's pretty good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
That's good. Well, it's good to connect with you finally.
Yeah, definitely.
Now you have in your email to me that you work for Redgate Films. Is that what it's called?
The film is called Redgate. It's been a film I've been working on for over a year now, and it's
Okay.
It's about UFOs, aliens, and murder, serial killer, stuff like that.
Okay. Is it going to be based on true events or a little bit of both, or?
It's actually based almost entirely on true events. Like I would say 90% based on true actual events.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's taken over a year because it started out as more of like a horror movie, and I just uncovered a lot of more things, mysterious things, the longer I've gone on with this film. When it comes to UFO type stuff, alien type stuff, it's just really bizarre stuff I've uncovered.
You had mentioned there was some things now what town was that again? Was that Montana?
Yeah, it's a small town in western Montana. It's called Deer Lodge.
Okay. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
curious about this. I mean, what's going, like, what, I haven't really done any research into it. So I'm interested to know some of the details about it.
So it's an interesting town because the town has always kind of had that weird type dark vibe type feel to it, and there's been all kinds of like bizarre things that have happened within the town itself. And there's a lot of stories on history how it was like built on a Indian burial ground, that they were massacred here and stuff. There's just a lot of weird stories, but one of the stories is aliens and UFO type paranormal happenings in this place outside of town. It's called Redgate. It's called Redgate area. And it's, if you imagine a town that's in a valley valley was surrounded by like beautiful like mountains and stuff. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
what Deer Lodge looks like, and it's pretty easy to get out of town. You just drive, it's less than a mile, less than a mile or two in most directions to get out of town. As you go to one side of the valley and you drive out of town, a couple miles down the road, there's this area. It's known as Red Gate, and it started out as a tale of folklore as kids, where there used to be like a homestead up there, and a guy came home, murdered his family, and painted his gate red with their blood. But over
Okay.
time, there's been like a lot of UFO sightings up there, and strange events. Cars would just stall out randomly. Um, there's this place you can go up there where it's like flat, but the car is like moving. When you put it in neutral, it's flat, but it's like moving. It's like some kind of weird force or something. It's really, really
Mm-hmm.
bizarre. Uh, but there was several, I don't know, it's like 15 years ago or something like that. There was these UFO paranormal investigators came out here, and they released kind of this choppy little movie, and it was about the area and how there's several people that grew up here that claim that they had. And this is crazy, but they claim that they actually grew up with these alien beings that would come visit them periodically, starting when they were kids.
Right.
And it was really interesting. You could actually even Google it. It's called The Secrets of Redgate. And there's even a guy that claims where he knows where the spaceship or whatever the ship was initially landed. He knows where that area was. So it kind of starts. I guess there's a lot of stuff to uncover, and it kind of starts right around there. But recently, over it was a couple years ago, and I discovered it just this past 6 months. I had a buddy out of nowhere reach out to me about he's going to be on the news with this image he captured on what was a hunting trail cam. And he puts up these hunting trail cams. He works for so outside of Deer Lodge, surrounding Redgate, is these like multi-billionaire owner guy. I think he lives in Seattle. He owns all this property, lots of property right around the Redgate area. So this guy I was friends with would work for him and go into these private locations, set up trail cams all across these different areas and stuff, just to capture like deer or moose or elk walking by,
Mm-hmm.
um, and to kind of put up like a security around this guy's property that he owned. And one night, it's like October, and it's like dark out, and out of nowhere it catches this thing coming across his camera, and it does not look human at all. Like, so it to explain like this is like when the trail camera gets like activated or whatever, it takes 3 consecutive shots really quick. So
Okay.
like, so he's caught like vehicles going by, fairly fast, and it at least captures 2 pictures of that vehicle going by the camera. And this thing walking up a hillside, it only captured 1 photo of it, and the other 2 pictures were completely black, and his camera completely malfunctioned and like
Wow.
died instantly. And then
Right.
and this is like he told me like these batteries, they'll last like over a year. This one's just set up, so it's just like crazy. And then this image, it's been circulating. It's been like on the History Channel and different news outlets and stuff. It's so creepy because it doesn't. It looks something. It doesn't look human. It looks like it's something else, and it had to be moving so fast that it only got captured once. And this is kind of like private property and stuff. And this is way up in the mountains. So there's just, and it's October, middle of October, whatever. There's just no way that somebody would just be randomly walking up there.
Yeah.
Um, it's so creepy to think about it. And yeah,
What does it look like exactly? Like, describe what it looks like.
it looks like if you had like 2 legs, 2 white legs together, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
like half an arm coming down, and then the head's completely like white. And it looks, people have described it looking like a fifth dimensional being overexposed in like a trail cam overexposed light. So it's
Right.
moving so fast that it just lit it up just really briefly. So it's super white from head to whatever, toe, whatever it is. But it looks like a figure going up the hillside really fast. Um,
Wow.
that's covered in light. It's really really weird looking, and it doesn't look like, because we've done cross comparisons of say a human being caught on a trail cam at that
Right.
exact trail cam and that exact time of night or whatever, and it doesn't look anything similar to like an actual human being or anything that would be
It
caught.
doesn't look like skeletal like the rake or anything. Do you know what the rake is?
What is the rake?
You'd have to look it up. If you get a chance, look up a picture of what they call the rake. I actually had an encounter with one. I don't know if it was actually what they would call the rake, but it was something that looks almost identical to what you're describing. Only it didn't have any legs that I could see unless they were cloaked.
Oh,
So
yeah. I'm seeing it
yeah,
now here. I got a few images on my computer
yeah.
here.
There's one that's kind of hunched down and it's got hollowed out eyes, and it's kind of looking up at a trail cam. I think there might be a deer around it. But is it anything like that?
It doesn't quite look like, the exposure looks a little bit similar, but I'd say it's from the side of the being walking up the hill, and it's more overexposed is how I would describe it. But if you were to
Okay.
put this rake thing and have it going sideways up a hillside, I bet it would look, and have it overexposed, I bet it would look pretty similar,
Similar,
honestly.
yeah. I'm just wondering if
Yeah.
it was, my God, and that's what they call the rake. I don't know. I really don't know much about the origins of the rake. I'm gonna have to do some research on that because my daughter and I happened to have one scuttle right in front of my car when I was driving her home one night. And we live actually, I'm in Pennsylvania right now, and it's pretty heavily wooded and stuff in this area, but this thing
Hmm.
just came out of nowhere and it disappeared into nowhere. So it just kind of piqued my interest when you said that, when you were describing it. So,
Yeah, totally.
um,
And I don't,
go ahead.
yeah, I don't know the full story behind the rake, but there's a story behind this being that we think might be it. Going back to like the people that used to visit with aliens as their kids and stuff, there was a story about an alien that they ended up calling, it was like Esteban, and they said, this is where it gets really weird. They said that since that
I
alien
know it
came to,
always gets weird.
yeah, it gets weirder the more you go into it.
Oh,
It
it
gets
does. It does. That's what I always say. What is it? I always say this, the more you learn, the less you know, and it is
yeah.
so true. Like it's like it just gets weirder. And the conversation I had with Robin the other night, I was ready to pass out. I was falling asleep. You should have heard this stuff she was telling me. And I'm just like, Robin, why are we not podcasting this right now? But there's stuff she can't say. There's stuff she's not allowed to say on to anybody, or she doesn't feel comfortable saying things. So, she knows about cases and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's crazy stuff. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's really, this is almost humorous to think about what I'm about to tell you. It's just
I know.
weird. But they're
Go
saying
ahead. Believe me, I'm prepared for anything at this point.
upon these visitations, um, Esteban ended up having sexual intercourse with a human being. And because Esteban had sexual intercourse with a human being, he could not go back to where he was from, the dimension that he was actually from. So he's stuck here
Wow.
forever, which is weird.
So did he know this ahead of time?
I don't know. That's the thing, is like, I feel like some of these beings are crossing, multiple dimensions to get to our dimension. And maybe, I don't know if you didn't know it or you got curious, or what happened exactly.
Yeah.
But when I start to think about this alien image that was captured up there, I'm thinking maybe he just appears up there every once in a while up in this Redgate area, and that was him. But
Mm-hmm.
with the rake, I mean, I think a lot of these things, they're moving so fast. I kind of wonder like how you can possibly catch it on camera so briefly and then they're just instantly gone because they're so
Yeah,
fast. They have so much freaking energy behind them when they
I
pass
know.
through.
Well,
You know.
they cloak too, and they move so fast. They're so they're just, their abilities are off the charts. And I do think the rake is a potential that the rake is an alien. It is an ET of some sort. It's just that people have caught it and they've given it a different kind of name for whatever reason. But a lot of these things, I mean, even Bigfoot and Dogmen are part ET. So I mean, we're surrounded by it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. It's
so
it's really interesting.
what made you decide to get into Redgate? Like what go back to your like have you had any encounters like when you were small or when you were even as an adult? Like were there any origins to you kind of being introduced to the paranormal at all?
So, I mean, there was several stories. When I was a kid, I was at the local high school football field here, and me and my buddies, there's a hillside we used to play on. And as we were playing on this hillside, I remember we started running down the hillside. In the distance, I saw what I thought it looked like a glowing human being of some kind just standing there, like looking at us. So
Mm-hmm.
naturally, out of curiosity, I just started running towards it as fast as I could. And then by the time I got close to it, it just started to fade away and just completely disappeared. It was just really weird. But a lot of the things that go about the paranormal in this town is Deer Lodge is the home of the Montana State Prison. It has been for forever. And there is the old Montana State Prison, which is basically on the outskirts of town. It's a museum now, and you can walk through that place, and you can just feel there was a right there. There's a lot of people killed there. A lot of terrible things happen there. You can just feel like the spirits, and there's been ghost sightings there, and there's been a lot of paranormal activity there. And they've done ghost tours there. Ghost Adventures came here and actually did a ghost tour in the old Montana State Prison. Um,
Yeah.
so we used to do
They
theater.
feed off of
Yeah,
that, the negativity. They any even the cryptids, entities, whatever, they love anything negative. That's just like a food for them. So that would be
yeah.
natural for them to migrate to that.
Oh yeah, it's really crazy because some of the events that have happened in this town are just beyond explanation. You think New York, Chicago, the murderous type things and events like that happen all the time, but you got stories of
Mhm.
this lady. She owned a gas station, and out of nowhere, her husband came home one day drunk after she got off work and just took a knife and just stabbed her to death out of nowhere, and
Yeah.
then went to the cops the next morning and reported himself. We had one that was really bizarre. We were doing a theater play because we do a lot of theater here in town, and there's a lady that lived out of town with her husband, and they had like two kids, and she was going to be in her first play with us she's ever done. And a couple days before the play was supposed to open, her husband, and this guy lives, their house, by the way, is in the Redgate area, so where all
Yeah.
this activity is, that's where their house is located at, was, I'll say. And one day he goes home and kills her, shoots the kids, lights the house on fire, lays them all down on the bed. Then he lays down on the bed and shoots himself as a house burns down.
Yeah.
It's just like mind
It's
blowing.
possession. It's I don't believe I personally believe and I feel that God has shown me that people that come in, whatever the reasons are that murder their family, murder their children, murder anybody really, I believe that they're truly something steps in and takes over, for even a moment. It could be, a lifetime. I don't know, but there's something that walks into somebody's body and does the stuff for them. A lot of people come out of it and don't even remember any detail at all. They don't even know that they didn't know they did it. So it's
Yeah.
that's what I feel. I mean, it's just something, my revelations through all the research I've done and this whole journey that I've been on, starting with God. And then it just kind of led into all this other stuff and led me into podcasting, which I never thought I would be doing in a million years. But I don't know. It just something that just started the whole thing for me was just the feeling that we all need to be protected. And the more knowledge we have, the more protected we can be, you
Oh
know.
yeah, 100%. I've talked to a lot of like ghost hunters and people like that, and they give me tips on how to stay protected from it as you kind of
Yeah.
deep dig into this stuff. A lot of bizarre things start happening. It's really. I mean, we've tried to go out and shoot trail cams and stuff. We've had them dying on us out of nowhere. Just a lot of weird stuff happening where it's
Yeah,
like,
well, they suck that energy. They love energy, any kind of source of energy. I've talked to Robin about that in detail about, why do the trail cams die, batteries die. She's like, oh my, they just drain everything and anything. They have so many abilities that our abilities, I mean, what we believe is that sin, when, we started to sin, it took our abilities away. Like either God took it away or, Satan took it away. I'm not sure if, depending on if you believe in that or not. Some people don't believe in
Hmm.
God or, Satan, but, either way, whether it's the government or whatever, for whatever reason, a lot of people's abilities have been hidden from them, and they don't know how to tap into it. And then there's other people like me where I get premonitions of death, and I have dreams that come true. And I had something that happened the other day where this was really crazy. I woke up, I had a really old friend of mine from school, haven't seen her in so many years, and I woke up saying her name. I was coming out of a dream feeling like I don't understand why we had lost touch, that she had been so important to me when we were kids. And then all through, our adult life, I just never, stayed in touch with her. And I woke up talking about her, and her brother was part of our group. He was really important to us. And that day, for whatever reason, I got into the obituaries to check them. I do that periodically. I don't do it all the time, just because
Hmm.
of COVID and everything. And here, that was the day his funeral was taking place. He had died.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was just like, honest to God, Patrick, I hadn't thought about this girl in probably 40 years, 30 years. And I was just like, this is insane, some of this stuff. But there's abilities that we have, and people don't understand, that we have them. And these creatures know they have them, and they know how to use them.
It's
So,
yeah, it's crazy to think about all these things. I've been on a spiritual journey myself lately, and I've looked into modern like witchcraft and things of that nature just to kind of get an understanding of it. And
hmm,
everything out there is energy. It's all energy,
yeah,
and it depends how you use it. But I think one of the best quotes is, yeah, we as human beings have no idea the actual power that we have. Um,
no,
and then every
no,
once in a while, like your story, you see synchronicities in these events we have in our life. It's like, well, how did this happen? It's just
yeah.
randomly happened out of nowhere. It's like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah. If you listen to, I've got a lot of my earlier podcasts, I talk about a lot of my experiences. I grew up in a really large, it was a mansion. And I think with me, I never had the option to not believe, because the house I grew up in was so active. And I do believe there was a spirit in the home that wanted me as her child. She was never able to have children. And I figured that out as I got older because of a dream I had had. She wanted to take me through this wall in my bedroom. And then later on, I found out that the woman that died in my bedroom was motherless. She never was able to have children. And then I connected the dream. I knew it was her. And the description of her was identical. She was a French woman. So but I have lived with this stuff, all my life. I've just always, been around it. Have the option to not believe or not really have abilities.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, if you feel that you're around it and you're in a location where there's just constant examples of it every here and there, it's hard not to
Yeah.
believe in it.
I know. It's like well, with Robin. I think Robin and I got so close because she's been being abducted since she was 3 years old, and she's never known that to not be normal, for her to see dogmen, to see Bigfoot. And there's many other people like that as well, that they've seen them. They've been having abductions their entire life, or they've been having encounters. So to them, it's just a completely normal occurrence. So they get on and they talk about it, and people are like, "This stuff sounds insane." But to them, it sounds completely normal, and that's what's happening with people. They're coming out and they're talking about this stuff, and people are like, "Holy God, like, how is this even possible?" But it is.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, if it hasn't happened to you, this it just sounds insane almost. Some of these
Yeah,
these stories and stuff, but you've seen it.
yeah,
They've done it through hypnosis and everything, and they can go back and track these as being real events in these people's lives. You know,
yeah.
it's just crazy to
I,
think about.
I'm getting into hypnotherapy. I want to. I'm not sure where hypnosis stands with the Lord. I've gotten different, takes with that from people that are Christian. I'm a Christian, but
Hmm.
I do believe that so much has been robbed of us. Like, the Bible has probably, in some instances, been, rewritten in some cases. Certain books have been removed. Of course it would be. So
Hmm.
but a lot of people believe, that you're not supposed to get into hypnosis and such as a Christian. But I feel that It's just another ability. It's something that we have, that we're able to do, and we can help people with it. So I'm pretty fascinated with that. And like astral projection, it's like that remote viewing. I would
Yeah.
like to learn to remote view.
Yeah,
That's
I've looked into that too. Remote. I've tried a few different hypnosis. I haven't done one of those in a long time, but yeah, remote viewing under deep hypnosis and meditation and things. Yeah,
insane.
yeah, it'd be really. So I think a lot of the Bible is actually taken out of context. Unfortunately, a lot of things that Jesus said in the Bible by a lot of Christian religions, even like the Catholic Church and whatnot, where I think they've kind of taken a lot of things. You go back and read some of the things that he's said, and they're kind of being reinterpreted today, and you're like, wait a second, he's
Hmm.
saying something completely different than what people think he's saying. You know?
Well, what I feel with the Bible is that it's literal. I feel that when God has shown us so many times when he writes something and he says, something has, four faces and whatnot, and then these scholars are trying to interpret this. I don't think there is an interpretation. I think it's literal. I think it is what it is. It's what it says, and there is no real true interpretation of it. And I think that they've turned it into like this three-ring circus to try to, maybe make it into something that they want it to be. Is what it feels like to me. And I feel that there's a lot of the Bible that there's an agenda of man there, that it's so clear that it's just, like when you're reading certain parts of the Bible, you're just like, this doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't feel like it would be God that would want this, or say this. It feels childish, or like there's an agenda there. So I'm not saying it isn't. I mean, it could be, the entire Bible could be completely 100% correct. I mean, I'm not, that's the thing, we don't know. And there's so much we don't know, and a lot of times you just have to go on what you feel.
Yeah,
So
and unfortunately, a lot of religions are man-made. Like I was a diehard Catholic, and then COVID hit, and I saw things within the Catholic Church that I was like, that's not according to anything that the Bible or Jesus said. I
right.
don't care what people's perspectives are on COVID-19. That doesn't really matter to me. But to kick people out of church services because they're not wearing a mask or they're not
Hmm.
vaccinated, or that's not what the Bible said. That's not what Jesus said. You guys just, it's like I was growing up being told my entire life, well, you're a martyr for Catholicism. If something happens, you have to die for your religion. I was like, now it's like, well, that time happened this last year or so, and they just bent over to the government, and they abandoned all their beliefs right in front of me. It's like,
Right.
you got to be kidding me. Like, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Somebody once told me that the Catholic Church is actually Rome in disguise. It was like the Roman Empire that, kind of went into hiding in a sense, and they're disguised and in the Catholic Church. Now, I don't know if that's true, and I don't want to knock the Catholic religion because, for all we know, I mean, we could die, and, there's a collective of souls where, good goes to a certain area and bad goes to another area, and half the stuff we know just isn't really completely accurate. But, and I try to respect people's, beliefs. Like I really do. I mean, I feel some of it's wrong, and I have my opinions, but I don't know if I'm right. None of us know if we're right. We're just following what we feel is right to us.
yeah,
So, and that's all we can really do. And I just, just with the masks and the COVID and stuff, I'm not going to say, I don't believe in. I mean, personally, I can't get the shot because I have super allergies,
mhm,
and they're really, really, really bad. And they don't recommend anybody that has the kind of allergies that I have. Mine are off the charts. Like it's something the doctors have never seen anything like some of the stuff I deal with. It's not like where you get a shot and you're better. This isn't like
yeah,
that for me.
yeah,
So, they didn't recommend it for me. So I've just been a little leery, and I've just been kind of waiting to see what's happening with people that do get the COVID shot and what the outcome might be. And I'm just really trying to be as careful as I can. I do wear my masks, and I wash my hands and such, like, just to take it. I figure, if surgeons wear masks during operations, it's not going to kill me to, wear a mask when I'm out in public. I don't like it, but I just feel like it might protect me to some degree. I'm not sure if it will,
mhm,
but I don't want to knock the shot and then get COVID and die from it. And then or be the person that, wants people to get the shot, and then the people that you want to get it die. So I'm kind of like, I
yeah,
really, I don't test fate that like that. I try not to be overly opinionated, because I've noticed whenever I found an opinion, something happens that changes it. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, yeah. I mean, for me, it's like, my thoughts are just, with that, with anything, do your research, make a decision based on your own health. And
right.
I just feel like there's so much misinformation spewed out by like mainstream media and stuff, where it's like, people
Yeah.
should be making this shouldn't be like, oh, everybody has to do this exact same thing. I was like, no, you should be making your
Yeah.
own decision on this. Whatever your decision, that's fine, whatever you decide to do, but make
Yeah.
a thoughtful, actual decision on it. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting. I don't knock anybody that does anything. It's just, you should,
Yeah. I
res-
think you have a sense. Like, you have a
yeah.
sense to know what is, hang on one second. You have a sense to know what is right for you. And the one thing that drives me crazy about our race is that we all expect everybody to be the same. We expect, if everybody to just kind of get in line and be this one big happy group that we all just obey, and we do the same thing, and that all did, and the vaccine is killing people. Some people
Mhm.
that take the vaccine and they're absolutely fine, and it might protect them, and there's other people that take one shot and they're dead. So it just shows you that we aren't all the same, and we can't all make the same decision. So it just, people have got to understand that. And it just, I don't know what it's going to take for people to understand that.
I know it's not. Yeah, I'm not making the thing that the vaccine's going to kill people who are necessary or not. But
Yeah.
every time it feels like the message overwhelmingly it's safe for everybody no matter what, and that's just not true. Like Hank Aaron went out there and got the vaccine, bragged about it, and then like a month later he's dead. And instead of doing like a thorough investigation or talking about it, the media immediately said, no, it had nothing to do with the vaccine, nothing at all whatsoever. It's like, without even doing any research
Yeah.
or anything on it. It's like,
Right.
I'm not saying it caused it, but like, you
Well,
shouldn't.
there's some things that, you put two and two together, and I had a mechanic in town here. His brother, he has MS, or he had MS, and um, he ended up getting he opted for the vaccine. The whole family was against it. He did take it because he thought it would protect him because he had MS, and they think that that's what killed him. He
Oh,
just died.
really?
Just randomly took the vaccine and just got weaker and weaker and sicker, and they ended up having to put him in I mean, when it's a case like that, it's a little obvious that there's a problem with the vaccine, you
Well,
know?
the other thing is, and I don't mind, any politician or whatever, but the fact that it was rushed out and approved, was where vaccines in the past would take years, but this one somehow took months to get
Hmm.
out there, and it wasn't even. I don't know what's approved by the FDA right now, but this one, I mean, it takes a while to get approved from the FDA. So the vaccine, for the overwhelming majority of people taking it, was not approved by the FDA because it takes a long time to do that. So it's kind of like it was rushed out so fast. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. You should
They
be able to.
didn't do enough research on it. It was I mean, this whole thing is what it feels like to me, and I'm going to say this, I probably shouldn't say this, but it feels like, I'm really connected to God. I know I am. And I hear him. I can feel him speak to me through mind. I just feel him. I know, when I talk to him and I ask him something, he just has a way of answering me. And I felt what I got in my mind was that the vaccine was basically this whole thing with COVID. Yes, people are getting sick and they're dying, and I'm not taking that away from anybody. I'm not gonna sit there and belittle COVID and be one of those people that says, oh, it's all made up. No, it's real. People are getting sick and they're dying from this stuff. But I feel like this was all a precursor to the end time getting it's an obedience test.
Mhm.
That's what I feel it is. It's a test of obedience,
Well,
to
yeah.
see if everybody gets on board,
And
you
and,
know.
and if you're so correct on the vaccine, how everyone needs to take it, then you shouldn't have any problem with anybody saying something different. But it's like they
Yeah,
try to ostracize anybody that says anything different other than what the mainstream narrative is, and that's where I have a problem. It's like, not
yeah,
that you shouldn't take the vaccine, but you should be able, especially today with social media, you should be able to have an open, honest discussion about something, and you just don't see that right now. You're just like, nope. If you say something
yeah,
against the vaccine, we're going to take down your article or whatever, and you're done.
yeah, I
It's
know.
like,
Yeah,
that's not science. That's not how science goes. That's our.
that, imagine being in a you're splitting up with somebody and the one believes in it, the other doesn't, and then you have a child. Make the decision, like if the one takes the child when they have the child and they get them vaccinated, imagine what the other partner would feel, or vice versa, and I just thought situation right now. So it just, like I said, I just don't know. I don't, confident, or it's people that get the vaccine are getting COVID and dying from it. So,
Yeah.
then you're into like what, 1, 2, 3, 4 shots now? Like they're recommending more and more shots for it.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
So,
I have a buddy in Minnesota, and I guess if you're not healthy or really out of shape or whatever, maybe that's a reason to get it. He doesn't do much, so he's talking. He got his like 4th shot the other day. I was like, oh my gosh, how many more? And then they say there's another one for the Omicron. So it's like there's just another one. You're up to like 27 different shots here, pretty soon.
And then you have all these people talking about, even, I like the COVID test, you hear this stuff, maybe they're COVID particles, dried particles are on like the Q-tip, and they're giving it, like you're hearing all this stuff. There are all these, scares are going around that people are just so uncertain and need to be patient. A lot of families raising children and they're real uncertain. They know if, it goes either way, they could die. And, but I mean, I understand both sides. I really do. I see both sides of it.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I have to do what's right for me, for my body, because I know my body and I know the problems I have with it. And I know what was recommended to me. And that's all every one of us can do. We can't tell each other what's right for each other. And that's where I think, we just have to just kind of, this is all kind of new to us, we don't really know what to expect.
Yeah, no, exactly. This is all brand new. It's really crazy how things happen so fast, and yeah, it's really weird. Yeah,
doesn't seem
totally.
Like I'm saying either. So I think this is the new norm for us.
I think it's the new norm. I think we're heading into, you can just feel it in the air. Really, we're heading into some other completely radical things that are going to happen here in the next couple of years. I think it's hard to predict. After COVID hit, because I never predicted that ever. That I was flying down from Alaska to Montana to see my kids, and then 2 seconds later it hits, and I'm stuck in Montana forever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was.
Do you live?
Yeah. So.
Is that where you live?
I was going through a divorce right before COVID, and my kids had moved to Montana, and I was in Alaska. And I came to, I worked as a teacher up there. I had a spring break in March 2020. I came down just to visit my kids for a week, and I was going to go back up to Alaska and finish out my work. And then COVID hit, and the day my flight was supposed to fly back, the superintendent of our school district sent out an email telling, because in Alaska, where I lived in Alaska, it's super remote, and it's like 15 different villages in the school district. And basically the superintendent said the idea of people that are on spring break in the lower 48 when this COVID's breaking out should not come back to these villages, because who knows how bad it could spread. And he basically told everybody to stay where they were at and not come back from spring break if they're out of state. And I never ended up going back to Alaska. They just sent me all my stuff down eventually. So it was just, it was just weird. So I've been in Montana kind of going through that, and
is that how you found out about Redgate? Like, is that what led you into it initially, just because you were in the area?
I had written a script for I was thinking about doing the Redgate film, and at the time it didn't have to do with aliens or anything, just kind of paranormal stuff. I was working on a script like a couple of years before, and I had written like one line, like a van flies across the horizon from like 1973. Because I want to do like almost like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre type movie. And then the camper van we ended up getting for the movie ended up being a van that was made in 1973. So that's kind of weird.
Yeah. No, that's kind of cool.
But yeah, I wasn't planning on doing the movie for a while, and then COVID hit, and I was just looking for something to do. I was like, I just opened up an opportunity to kind of dig into Redgate and make this movie and dig in. Then one thing happened, another. I got into UFOs, aliens, paranormal, and all this other stuff started happening. And it's just
it leads you into it. It from one to another to another. It leads you into this whole. It's a journey. Like I said, it's this crazy journey.
Yeah,
So,
it's been so weird that it all hit because of COVID and everything. It's
mhm.
it's been such a bizarre journey that I never really expected when I started it for it ever to kind of go into what it's become. But yeah, it's been an amazing journey though. Also, it's been really interesting.
I'm right there with you. And let me tell you, I never, good Lord, you would have told me, I just don't even know how I got here either. I'm like, this is just, but I've had so many experiences in my life. And, it got to the point where it just built up so much and I was learning so much and, just so many different experiences. And I just thought I have to share this with people and I have to, and then meeting new people when you're involved in it, it's so neat, the people that you meet just the people you connect to and it's amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing. The connections you make over time. Those connections
Mhm.
sometimes seemingly come out of nowhere. Like out of nowhere, it's just like, oh wow, never
I was
imagined in a
writing a
couple of years I'd be doing this.
I write kids books and do podcasting and I own an ice cream truck company and I'm inventing a new website and I do all this stuff too, and play music. I play the piano and so I'm pretty busy most of the time. I'm actually going to read my Christmas story I wrote on the podcast at some point. But I was writing a script about this it was like it was a really cool script. It was about Lucifer and it was about this other angel in heaven that they basically loved each other. It was kind of like a romance type thing in a way, but it was dark. And when he was leaving, he was cast out of heaven. She didn't want him to go. They weren't like having a romantic type thing in heaven, but they loved each other and it was forbidden, but God knew and they didn't know that he knew. And so she begged him to stay and he turned his back and he fell. It shows him in the script falling. And then what happened was, I guess, as a dig on Lucifer, God recreated her as a human. So he sent her to the earth, and then these two angels were, I don't know, I can't really grasp if I want them to have been sent with God or that they had come themselves to watch her to keep her. They wanted to keep Lucifer from finding out that she existed and he does find out inevitably, but it ends darkly. It ends, I was doing this script and I thought it would be so great, and there's some pretty evil stuff in it too. It shows him doing some really horrible things that it reminds her of how bad he was. And I thought it'd be such a great script, and I heard God tell me I was not to write the script. And I'm sitting at my desktop writing this script, and I'm like so excited about it, thinking this is going to be really cool. And I heard God tell me that, and I stopped writing, I looked up at him, I was like, but why? And he was like, they're going to fall in love with Lucifer's character, and it's going to, lead people to him even more. So I wasn't to write the script, but that was my idea for it.
That sounds really interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd like to see a copy of it. If you wouldn't mind sending me a copy of it, because I
sure.
yeah, I like reading scripts. But that sounds
Yeah,
like a really interesting. So he was in love with a girl, another angel in heaven,
yeah.
and then
Yeah, he fell. I have the picture of her. She's standing there there was a council meeting with Lucifer to try to get him back on track where he wasn't, where this council got together and they wanted him to stay and to try to get a rein on his anger. And he was enraged because of humans. And so as he was leaving, they were basically leaving heaven. Like they were cast down by the Lord, but they jumped. Like they were pushed out, but they when they fell, it was more like they left too. It was more like, they just kind of looked down and just plummeted down to the earth. And as he was leaving, she was begging him to stay, begging him to have a change of heart, to go to God and ask for forgiveness and stay. And he just looked at her very sadly and he just kind of put his head down and turned and he just, he jumped. He jumped down to earth. And then he loved her and she loved him, but it was forbidden. They weren't allowed to because they were servants for God. They weren't, just like the Watchers weren't allowed to reproduce with human women. They weren't allowed to really have anything for themselves. And I'd always had like a feeling, in a sense, like a sympathy for the devil type thing, where I felt like, he had gone against um God because he was angry because he didn't want to serve humans. They were beneath him. that type of stuff. And I could, in a way, I could kind of connect to it. I could understand. And I also was told that Lucifer was actually the father of Cain and Abel. And I don't know if this is true. This is what I got from God. The one day I was sitting there trying to understand, because Cain was the first murderer, and there was a lot of hate and anger in Cain, and he was the firstborn of Adam and Eve. And I was sitting at the table one day and I heard God say, Tracy, Cain is Lucifer's son. That's why he was so hateful, and that's why he killed his brother. Eve was in the garden with Lucifer for nobody knows the amount of time Eve was in the garden with Lucifer. We don't know if it was days, hours, whatever, but he was a beautiful angel. He presented himself as a serpent, or God called him a serpent. He didn't actually say he was in snake form. He said the serpent, showed up in the Garden of Eden and he tempted Eve. Well, wouldn't he also try to have sex with her? Why wouldn't he? And
Mm-hmm.
that would be something that Satan would do. So that's what God revealed to me. So in the script, there's a lot of this stuff in there. And so these two watcher angels came to watch her and guard her. And I think her name in the movie was Prentice. I can't remember what I have down, but she and they were just very, really wanted to keep her from Lucifer. They did not want her around him, did not want him to find out about her. They guarded her. And she grew up like in a wealthy household and that type of stuff. And as she was growing, things were happening to her and such. And he finally, he felt her. He felt her presence. And he found out, he searched her out and he found her. So, but like I said, there's some darkness in the movie as well. There's him murdering children and, a lot of things that remind her in the end about how evil he was. And then she walks away from him, because she can't be with him because of his evil. But I thought it would be an excellent script, and it just, and I'm hearing God, I'm like, oh, come on, you got to be kidding me. So I'm still kind of up in the air about it. I'm like, I don't really know. I really want to create this movie.
Yeah, it sounds like extremely interesting, honestly. That sounds really,
Yeah.
really interesting.
It would
I
be
can
fun. Yeah, I was kind of excited when you said you were making films. I thought, geez, we should maybe get together and, collaborate a little bit on something, because that would be great.
yeah, I used to do comedy. Now I'm switching more to like the horror genre and everything else.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's what it's horror in there, it's biblical, but I mean, and then when you put these things in with the UFOs and the cryptids, and I mean, God knows what you could put in a movie, but the special effects would have to be there and that type of stuff. So
yeah.
it would be really great to do it. But so is there, tell me, you said there were some things in Redgate that the government, like, they didn't release some things. Or can you talk about any of that or not?
Um, what I meant to say is there's footage in there. Again, we talk about going on these journeys, you never know what you're going to find. And when I started to investigate it even further, and the film took a different direction, and the more and more investigations I did into it, the more stuff kind of surfaced out of nowhere. And one of those things that surfaced is there's this regular guy, a really cool guy, just kind of like you regular Joe guy. He works at the Montana State Prison in town, and one day he came home after a movie with his kids, and he's pulling up, and as he's pulling up, he starts to see these weird UFO like light bulbs in the sky, just going around and circling and making like weird directions and stuff, and they're going different directions and all these different things, and just very, very odd. So he pulls out his cell phone, and it's like an older cell phone. So the footage on it, he couldn't get the quality footage he wanted, but he just starts filming it.
Mhm.
And this footage has not been seen by like anybody. He starts filming it live, and it's weird to see these white lights in the sky just going different directions. And it can't be fireworks. Fireworks explode and stuff when they go in the sky, and it's
Mhm.
not a flock of birds, because birds, as you know, birds when they fly in one continuous synchronous way. And it's kind of caught in between these clouds and things, and you're just looking at it the entire time, like, what in the heck is this? And
Mhm.
it's in the sky right above his house in town. And when I saw
Uh,
that, I was just my eyes just like exposed, like, holy cow, this is like
yeah.
interesting as hell. And the problem I've had though in investigating these things is that I've had a lot of stories and a lot of people I could reach out and contact, but very few have wanted to come forward and actually talk about it. And I think it's because they're scared to talk about it, to tell you the truth. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
he talked about it, and then I screened a copy of my rough cut of the film, and he never replied back. So I haven't talked to him since. But the stuff he presented was crazy. It's a bizarre video.
Yeah. What do you have the video? Do you have access to it?
It's on a folder. I don't have it online or anything yet, but it's on I have it on a folder somewhere. I gotta check it out.
Yeah, you should send it to me if you ever get it. If you run across it, send me the link to it. I'd like to see it. It
Yeah,
just there's so much. So you're going to continue on. When do you think the movie's going to be released for it?
it's hard to say. Like independent filmmaking, it's hard to say because you try to market it so bad. You want to get like the best possible situation for the film and everything else. So right now, I'm kind of on that starting out that process of reaching out to people with basically mostly finished film and in the
Mm-hmm.
media and reaching out and going into the details of the true story and seeing how I can get this out to the best most effective way to get it out. So I'm kind
Yeah,
of in that beginning process, but I mean, so it might take months. Um, it's kind of interesting. And I followed other steps of other independent filmmakers that are successful, like say like Paranormal Activity, Blair Witch Project. But people don't understand Paranormal Activity was that it premiered at a festival
mm-hmm.
like one year, and then it wasn't released like nationwide or anything until 2 years later. So it
Yeah,
took it like 2 years to take off. I hope it doesn't take that long, but I'm pretty patient in waiting and trying to get as much momentum and everything for it until it's finally released. Because when you have UFO stuff and footage like that, it's really kind of timeless. It's not really like there's a timestamp on when it needs to be released.
mm-hmm.
But I'm hoping that it's released here within the next year. Hopefully, we can get
I have
something
a
done.
really good friend in Lyle Howery. He did the movie Street. Um, and he's just been in the entertainment business forever, and he's a real close friend of mine. I could ask him if you need any information or any kind of tips or ideas, I can, find
Yeah,
out from him if there's any help I could give you.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
So,
If you did, that'd be great.
yeah,
Anything helps. If what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to either get two pronged approaches. I'm trying to get media attention from it, but I'm also trying to find a way to screen it in front of people that really matter, like could have an influence on it
right.
actually going somewhere. The festival route, the film festival route, it's still a possibility, but a lot of times it can be hard to get in the film festival. You don't have connections and yada 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 or whatever. So that's my route is kind of trying to make connections and find people that I can get it in front of
Yeah.
that can see
Well,
the
I can
potential with it.
ask Lyle because he self-promoted Street. He really got that out there and it did really well. So I'll ask him. I'll message him today and find out about, because I need to know that too. Like if I do get this script done and do decide to go ahead with it, I'd like to, he said he would help me whenever I needed it. So, but that would be great for you to, maybe connect with him or something.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be
So,
awesome. Let me know.
yeah.
Yeah, Street has that's is that yeah, Matt Mitrione.
What
The
is it?
UFC. Oh, he's a UFC fighter. I just looked at the movie Street online.
Yeah, yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Lyle likes like a lot of the action. He does the action and a lot of like the fighting type of stuff. He likes that stuff. I'm hoping he was doing something with something that was really like had a lot of depth to it. Like oh gosh, I can't even think I'm not even going to go out on a limb here and guess what it was, but it was something really deep. And I was kind of surprised that he had gone this direction. I was really happy he did. So, but I haven't talked to him in a while. I'm due for a phone conversation with him. So I'll definitely, connect with him and see where to go with it. A lot of it's money too, though, like you have to make sure you get investors and stuff, or, just try to find a way to get it out there. But he did some stuff with his and it did really well. So. I'll
Yeah, no,
oh,
it looks like they found it really well. Honestly, just looking at
yeah,
what I'm looking at here.
yeah, it did.
Um,
He sent me a copy of it and sent me hats and you know cups and all kinds of stuff. It was cute.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really cute. I know I went to the post office and the lady was like, Hollywood. And I looked at her and said, yeah, I know. I just kind of chuckled and left the post office. I was like, yeah, I just love him. He's, there's several people I know, in the entertainment industry, quite a few, but Lyle's the one I'm real close. I just love him. So he's a sweetheart.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, so
It's
that would be
awesome.
cool. So do you have, I mean, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Like any other stories or encounters or anything?
Um,
Think of.
yeah, I mean, there's always it's almost like an endless trail there.
I know. That's what I'm asking you. I'm like, come on, Patrick. I know there's more.
uh, yeah, I don't know if I have anything off the top
Well,
of my mind.
if
Yeah.
you think of any, just what you do, I tell everybody this, okay? If you get off with me and you think, oh, I should have said this, I should have said that, I want you to keep like a little diary of things that you forgot to talk about or any encounters that you like new encounters, anything that find out, anything that anything that's new and let me know and I'll have you on again because this is an ongoing thing. This doesn't just end. It
Yeah.
never ends. It's like you're kind of sucked into this world and it opens up all these, crazy windows of all this stuff that happens constantly, it seems for me. So it's an ongoing thing and the more open you are to it, the more things seem to happen to you.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, it just continues and continues and continues. Just like I found out with this film, it's like it's
Yeah.
never gonna.
It's gonna be a process, but like I said, I'll talk to Lyle and I'll see if there's anything, that you can do and I'll email you too more, and see what just get a little bit more insight into the film so I can, present it to him to see what he thinks, what you could do with it and stuff. But sounds really cool. It sounds exciting. I'd love to see it. I'm excited for it to come out.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. So, it's only become better and better, and I think the story behind it has a really good. I think it's a highly highly marketable film
Yeah.
that people will be really really interested in it. And I say a lot of that not only because horror films are great to market, they're just everybody likes to get scared,
Oh
but
yeah.
when you have it where it's like this is all based on like a true story, like and some
Yeah.
of it's
Yeah.
yeah, like and at least half the film is true footage and stuff like that, real alien footage. Some of it's no one, most people haven't seen or haven't seen at all. There's
Yeah.
a lot behind it. So yeah,
They're the
definitely.
best horror films. The best horror films are the ones that are based on true events because that's when it really freaks you out.
Yeah, then you get
You're
really
like,
scared.
yeah, you're like, okay, this isn't something somebody made up. This is terrible. Like this is, I don't watch too much horror because I always have, it seems like I get, really closed in on with spirits all the time anyway. And I'm always, playing a TV or I always have to have people in the house with me or something, or at least one other person to kind of keep it buffers it for me because I'm like some kind of I don't know what you call it, but whatever it is, I just feel them all the time around me. So if I watch a horror movie, I just get like bombarded, like it's awful. It's just like it becomes just terrible for me. But I do like them, and I do watch them on occasion. I just don't do it too often. So, but now if it's something like this where it's based on something true and it's actually cryptid or UFO related, that's a definite must watch. I mean,
Oh
I think,
yeah, yeah,
everybody needs to watch that stuff. So,
yeah.
but yeah, you when you get it done, let me know too. I'll put it up on the podcast and help get the word out for you and stuff too.
Oh, for sure, it'd be awesome. And if you
Yeah.
don't mind, I'll probably do a social media post on just our talking today, if you don't mind.
Oh gosh, no. Please do. And yeah, I do advertising. The website I'm creating it's a new Craigslist slash eBay slash bid for assets. It's got a paranormal it has
Hmm.
like classified ads and all that stuff. I do have a dating site at the bottom. That's a really cool one. It has like dating for like all these different groups that you just don't see every day. Like really neat stuff on there, the way it's presented. And in this website, there's a part called the Artist Corner for people to present their art. It could be movies, pottery, music, dance, whatever. it's almost like another little YouTube inside of this. It's like an all around overall everything you can find in one stop place website. And there's also a section on it for paranormal stories. So when I get this up and running, you can advertise on there too. You
Oh,
can
that'd be
throw this
freaking
stuff
awesome.
up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would love it. And I'll do it, I'll just throw it on there for you. So you could put it up there on like the top where I'm going to have like some special slots. But I'm excited. It's not done yet, but I'm working on it. So it'll be a really neat way to advertise things worldwide.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, I'm always creating something. I get bored, so I'm constantly doing something. It never ends.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Never
we
ends.
are creating. We should
My
always be
next thing,
creating.
yeah, my next thing is to violin. So that's my next thing for the start in on the violin, and that's gonna be pretty cool. So
That sounds, yeah, that's violence tough. I did as a
yeah,
kid, but you let me know how that goes.
I love it. I play the piano, so I love the piano, and I want to. Those are like my two favorite instruments, So,
Yeah,
well, it was great having you on, Patrick. And if you think of anything else, if you want to be on again, you let me know. I mean, you could be on, however many times you want. If there, as things go and things happen, just shoot me messages and stay in touch with me, and I'll see what Lyle says and all that good stuff, and we'll stay in touch. Okay.
oh, 100%. And please send me that script you've been working on. I'd love to read it and
I
see it.
will.
That'd be
I will.
awesome.
I will. Yeah, I will definitely send it to you. That'd be awesome. It's going to be a little bit because I've got some touch up stuff to do. I don't want to send it kind of incomplete. So give me a little bit of
Yeah.
time and I'll
Okay.
I'll get
Yeah.
it to you.
Yeah. I've always
Okay.
wanted to do like a film kind of based on heaven, hell, the earth.
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, it's
that would
definitely
be
something
amazing.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I've been kind of, trying to feel out who I would, have as a crew and, if I when I do the movie, who I would want to, get involved with it with me. So it would be amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Sounds really cool. Sounds very cool.
well, you have a great day.
Yeah.
It
You
was
too.
good
Thanks.
talking to you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks for having
Take
me
care,
on.
Patrick. Sure.
You
I'll
too.
talk to you soon.
Yeah. See ya. Thanks.
All right. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Well, that was a great interview. I really enjoyed meeting Patrick, talking to him, and interviewing him here. Hopefully, we can get that movie out, and he's a great success with it. It made me really decide that I'm going to keep pursuing my script writing with the movie I was working on. As long as I'm just going to have to stay in prayer and make sure I'm doing it according to what God would approve of. But I think I know I'm gonna continue on with the movie I'm writing. So that sounds pretty cool. It gave me some incentive here. You guys have a great day. I really enjoyed the show today, and I've got lined up. I have actually another filmmaker coming on Saturday, and I have Brittany is coming on. I'm going to be doing the interview with her tonight, and just a lot going on here. So stay tuned. It's just getting busier and busier around here. You guys have a wonderful day or evening wherever you are. Stay safe. God bless you all. Love to you all. Say your prayers. And I will be talking to you soon. Take care, everybody.